Breaking just moments ago, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the actor best known for starring in the TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has reportedly died.
Actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, widely known for starring in the hit TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has died.
Me and Eddie really did not get along.
In real life?
In real life.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Like
okay.
we didn't get. But every single week before taping, we'd come together, we'd put our hands together, we'd bow, and we'd pray before we go out there.
Most people thought they were just acting, but behind the scenes, two men were fighting a silent war, not against each other, but against something far bigger. When Malcolm-Jamal Warner passed, Eddie Griffin didn't just mourn. He issued a warning. One that confirms the machine they were battling might have finally claimed another soul. They didn't like each other off camera, not even close. In real life, Eddie Griffin and Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't get along. But every single week before filming, they'd bow their heads, put their hands together, and pray. Two warriors. One mission, one silent battlefield. Hollywood. Week after week, for 4 years straight, they buried the tension just long enough to put on a show. But what they were really doing was surviving a war most people didn't even know existed.
So it was, for me, it was like going from a top university to junior college. Because I'm saying, look, we can actually be funny without doing the stereotypical stuff. And no one was really interested in that route. They're like, we didn't bring you over here for that. This is what we do.
There's a systematic plan to destroy the image of every strong black man in this business, Eddie once said. They don't want us leaving with our dignity intact. And he's been shouting about it for years. The emasculation, the manipulation, the media's double standards, the smear campaigns. But not even Eddie Griffin could have predicted what happened to his former co-star in July of 2025, the sudden death of a warrior. When news broke that Malcolm-Jamal Warner had died, allegedly drowned in Costa Rica, Eddie didn't post a typical RIP message. He dropped something closer to a coded battle report. "My heart is heavy today," he wrote. "The world lost a father, son, poet, musician, teacher, writer, director, and a warrior. A man I went to war with, not just in Hollywood, but against it." That wasn't grief. That was confirmation. He wasn't mourning a celebrity. He was honoring a fellow soldier who died in active duty.
Even though we were at odds, what we both understood is we get to 100 episodes, we're going to have a sweet vacation deal. Ultimately, they cut us at 88. Because they were tired. They were tired of me fighting with the writers, and then they were tired of Eddie's shenanigans.
The battle behind the scenes. It started during their show together. Malcolm and Eddie thought they were being given a platform. What they got was a trap. Every episode was a negotiation. Every script a battleground. The writers wanted jokes rooted in stereotypes. Malcolm wanted more. And when he pushed back, the system pushed harder. "I felt like I went from an Ivy League university to junior college," Malcolm once said. "They didn't want smart, they wanted slapstick. They didn't bring us here to elevate, they brought us here to dance." The tension with the writers grew. Malcolm wouldn't cave. Eddie clashed with producers. Together, they made it to 88 episodes, just 12 shy of the 100-episode benchmark that unlocks generational wealth through syndication. They were cut before they could cash in. The message was loud and clear. If you won't play by the rules, you don't get rewarded. Eddie's warnings come true.
Black man does something, it says, John Jones, black this, said black, black, black. Now if a white man does it, it isn't white man Jones, it's just a man.
Reason number one, why they came after Bill Cosby.
Eddie has spent decades calling out the machine, on stage, in interviews, through raw, unfiltered stand-up comedy that feels more like classified intelligence briefings than entertainment. His claim? That every major black male entertainer is forced into some form of humiliation. The dress, the caricature, the scandal. He even warned about Bill Cosby, years before the headlines, saying no powerful black man is allowed to leave this business untouched. And it's not just about Cosby, Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, Prince. The moment they got too powerful, too independent, or too vocal, suddenly accusations, investigations, or worse. Malcolm's final transformation. For decades, Malcolm played the game, carefully, strategically. He walked the tightrope between moral integrity and industry survival. But in the last year of his life, something changed. His Instagram turned into a battleground.
Tired of running for shade? And aren't you tired of being hustled and played? And aren't we all tired of crying about how hard it is to be black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made?
Whatever happened to integrity, man, huh? How many brothers gotta wear?
His words were no longer vague or diplomatic. They were sharp, poetic, and political. "I'm tired of running for shade," he wrote. "Tired of being played. Tired of pretending everything's okay when we're still crying inside." This wasn't art. It was a manifesto. A declaration of war against the psychological warfare black entertainers have been subjected to for generations. He called out the music, the media, the manufactured culture designed to degrade. And right when Hollywood was already cracking, Diddy under federal scrutiny, Epstein ties unraveling, Malcolm started telling the truth louder than ever. The goodbye no one heard. In his final video, Malcolm smiled. "Life's lifing out here," he said, "but just remember, there's always a reason to smile."
You know, life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
But that smile hid something. It was forced, fragile, like a man saying goodbye without being allowed to say it. 3 days later, he was found dead in Costa Rican waters. No witnesses, no foul play, just another accidental drowning. But Eddie's immediate post didn't sound shocked. It sounded prepared, like someone who'd been waiting for the phone to ring. The love that shaped him. To truly understand Malcolm's final stand, you need to go back to 1998, to Michelle Thomas. She played his girlfriend on The Cosby Show, but off-screen, she was his anchor. A woman of integrity, raised on values she refused to compromise, no matter what Hollywood offered.
To be a conscious artist of color, you're constantly having to pick your battles. And, at some point you have to, really decide what your boundaries are. What are the things that you undoubtedly stand for.
When Michelle died of cancer at just 28, Malcolm didn't just lose a partner. He lost his moral compass. He climbed into her hospital bed and held her as she passed. And for the next 27 years, every decision he made came from one question. What would Michelle do? She became his inner voice, the one reminding him to hold the line, even when the world pulled him in the opposite direction. In his final year, he stopped filtering that voice. He spoke with her clarity, her fire, and her refusal to be corrupted. And that's when the machine made its move. Pattern recognition, not paranoia. People call it conspiracy. But pattern recognition isn't paranoia when the dots always connect the same way. Whitney, Michael, Prince, now Malcolm. Each one had reached a breaking point with the industry. Each one died right as they were about to take control of their legacy. This isn't coincidence. It's strategy. And Eddie Griffin knew the playbook better than anyone. His tribute wasn't written by a PR team. It was raw, immediate, like a man confirming the mission had failed, that another warrior had been lost behind enemy lines. The war continues. Eddie once said, "You're not gonna leave this business clean." And Malcolm didn't. But he didn't go out silent. His poetry, his podcast, his interviews, every piece of him in that final year was a bullet aimed at the system. A system designed to keep black voices subdued, distracted, and compliant. Malcolm-Jamal Warner was done playing the game, and that choice cost him everything. But it also made him a legend, because in the end, he didn't drown in Costa Rica. He was taken by a machine he spent his final breath trying to expose. And thanks to Eddie Griffin, we now have confirmation. If you made it this far, it means you're awake. So stay that way. Like, comment, and subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but so more people hear the stories the machine doesn't want told. Rest in power, Malcolm. See you on the next one. See.